Yes, today is your fourth day of FDP, right? So I hope you have been given a brief introduction about the Indian knowledge system basically on other fields. And today my responsibility is to disclose the role of Indian knowledge system based on civil engineering aspects. So for that, I'm directly going to the session as we are already running late. Okay, whenever you are having some kind of doubts or anything, you can definitely raise your hands, or you can even raise the questions in the questions and answer session, and I'll be attending it later. Please feel free to ask anything. I will help. Sorry, I can answer in my level of knowledge in any kind of aspects. Okay, let us start with the traditional knowledge system. What is basically this traditional knowledge system? You may be aware that it is about the traditional technologies in areas such as subsistence, like tools and techniques of hunting and agriculture. That is how everything has been started, right? So the ecological knowledge, traditional medicine, and the celestial navigation, craft skills, astronomy, climate, etc. are the basic traditional knowledge system, uh, and the areas included has been mentioned here. Next one. As an overview to IKS, we can mention it as an ancient text and tradition that is rooted in the principles of three basic things, that is basically dharma, karma, and moksha. The IKS is a dynamic system that have been influenced Indian society in many ways, including the basics of education, law, and commerce. So, what are the core principles which is already mentioned? Like, what is dharma? You may be aware, like, this word we will be using as an Indian, we may be going through this on a daily basis. This dharma, karma, moksha. So, what is it about? Basically, dharma is the moral and ethical code that guides an individual's actions. It is often translated as duty or righteousness or something like that, right? So, what is karma? That is the law of cause, that is universal law of cause and effect based on the idea that every action has its own consequences. And that is what is also mentioned in the third law of Newton, also. That is the scientific explanation for it. So, the third one is moksha, which is a key concept in Indian physiology and the way of life. Okay. And now, what are all the other features of IKS? It's about the Jnana, Vijnan, and Jivan Darshan. The word seems like Sanskrit basically, but we are in basically in our Indian tradition, we will be seriously aware about these things, and we will be hearing it on a daily basis, which I have already mentioned. So, Jnana is knowledge, we may know that, and Vijnan is about science, and Jivan Darshan is about the philosophy of life. Now, the IKS, how it has been shaped is basically with the Indians' spiritual, social, and physiological beliefs, and also its practices. And IKS has influenced various fields like education, arts, administration, law, justice, health, manufacturing, and commerce. Now, it has provided a foundation for understanding India's future aspirations. An overview about IKS include the consciousness studies, health and wellness, traditional knowledge in mathematics, traditional medicines, yoga, Veda, ancient structures and design, preserving arts, culture and tradition, astronomy and consciousness studies, etc. Directly going to the civil engineering, we must discuss the basic essences. That is why I am elaborating these things. But I think there may be some participants who are better in this area, who are having better knowledge in this particular field which I am mentioning about. Kindly do excuse if I am I actually I am not planning deeply going deeply into in this particular topics. Still, I would like to just mention these all, and that is it. So the essences of IKS include a wide range of topics, including physiology, science, arts, literature, and more. The system aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of India's intellectual heritage also. So basically, as I have mentioned now, IKS include philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy, and we will be deeply going into the scientific aspects. And the topics are engineering and technology, linguistics, health and wellness, literature, tribal knowledge, etc. And it also includes agriculture, sports, games, and metallurgy. About tribal knowledge, we know it as indigenous and traditional ways of learning. And about literature, it is the epic poetry, drama, and prose. And the governance and public administration, which include the governance, polity, and conservation. Health and wellness is about the development of field like Ayurveda, yoga, and health and well-being. Linguistics is the role of language in Indian literature, and the core or the basic element, that is engineering and technology, which is a fastly developing area which includes the metals and metalworking, town planning, and architecture, etc. Indian knowledge system can be summarized in 3 points basically. The systematic transfer of knowledge from generation to generation through both oral and written traditions based on Vedas, which were received by the ancient sages. Now the second one is it is comprised of various scriptures, otherwise known as Shastras like Vedas, Upanishad, Aryangas, Brahmanas, and Sutras. It also includes schools, which is known as Vidyapida or Gurukula, etc. in previous years, and the languages like Sanskrit, Prakrit, and Pali, which is used in the knowledge. Okay. And the third point is the knowledge system is supported by auxiliary disciplines called Vedangas, which help in understanding and applying Vedic knowledge. Now, what are all the key points of Indian education system? There are 4 basic advantages in Indian education when compared in the modern era. The modern education system is basically focusing on learning approach. As a uh, faculty or as an academician, we may be very much using this word, or we may be going through this particular aspect of learning approach nowadays rather than teaching. Learning is what actually present in more minds or pleasing many more minds and scoring nowadays in between the students as well as teachers. So this learning approach is what already mentioned in our basic Indian education system. And the modern education system, which is about practical and conceptual learning, and the modern education system more interacting and engaging, and the subject specific and skill based knowledge. These are all the basic advantages in Indian education compared in the modern era. Now, the role of IKS in NEP, National Education Policy. It is inevitable to include this area, that is NEP, in this particular session, even though it is not in our particular area. Still, I would like to mention a simple or foundation points about NEP here. So, IKS is a key part of new education policy in 2020 curriculum. The IKS is a collection of traditional Indian knowledge system that includes a wide range of subjects. NEP 2020 actually aims to develop learners holistically, right? So this is a just thematic representation or based as mentioned as a chart form, that is the existing academic structure, which is about foundation stage of 5 years, and then 10 years, which includes the lower primary and the upper primary and the high school session, and finally 2 years of secondary education. That is what in existing academic structure we are currently what it how it is going. But in NEP, what they would like to include or how they want to modify it is like as it the total structure is divided into four basic structures like foundation, preparatory, middle, and secondary. So the foundation course will be included as 3 years of Anganwadi or preschool, Balvadika or whatever it is. That is from age 3 to 6. And then 2 years for class 1 and 2. That is included in the foundational area. And a preparatory phase of 3 years that includes children of class 3 to 5, otherwise age 8 to 11. And then another 3 years of middle education, which is from class 6 to 8, otherwise age 11 to 14. And finally, the 4 years, that is of class 9 to 12, otherwise age 14 to 18. If it is established as such, it will be a very beautiful, and hope students will be getting much more benefited about their education, and the purpose of education will be well explained. Anyhow, let's see. Now, about the themes of IKS, it includes Vedic mathematics, Indian astronomy, and various Indian Shastras. So, I think this might be discussed in another sessions in detail. So, I won't be going in detail. Still, as a basics or basic idea about this, what is Vedic mathematics? Yes, basically, it was about the Indian mathematician Jagadguru Sri Bharati Krishna Tirthaji during AD 1911 and 1918. The brain capacity and its speed of calculations fivefold with the practice of Vedic mathematics. Then the Vedic mathematics or Vedic mathematics, otherwise known as Vedic maths, is a collection of methods or sutras to solve numerical computations quickly and faster. Then it consists of 16 sutras, that is Egadin Parvena to Yavadanam and called formula, and also sorry, sub formula which can be applied to the solving of the problems in arithmetic, algebra, geometry, calculus, conics, etc. All the sutras and sub sutras of Vedic maths help to perform hard mathematical operations strictly and accurately. These are the basic themes in Indian knowledge system. About astronomy, we have already mentioned about the Vedic maths. Second one is astronomy, which is the study of everything in the universe beyond Earth's atmosphere. And that includes objects we can see with our naked eyes, basically, like the sun, moon, planets, and the stars. And it also includes the objects we can only see with the telescopes or other instruments, like faraway galaxies and tiny particles. And it even includes questions about things we can't see at all, like dark matter and dark energy. Third one is, in the astronomy itself, we have to mention four broad phases like Vedic period, classic period, medieval and modern period. And the Surya Siddhanta was developed during Vedic period. Indian astronomers developed the zodiac, like the measure of circumference of Earth and calculations of length of the year, during the classical period. And the medieval period, Siddhanta on astronomy and Sich were developed. And finally, the modern period, that is from 1500 CE to present. In this era, Indian astronomers made significant contribution in the development of space exploration technology. Modern astronomical instruments, that is discovery of black holes and the study of gravitational waves and the structures of universe, etc., and many more. About the Indian Shastras, various Indian Shastras are ancient Indian texts are covered variety of topics which include ethics, architecture, and philosophy. It is often a suffix added to the subject of treatise. So, Indian Shastra include Vastu Shastra, which is the treatise of architecture, Vaimanika Shastra, which is the science of aeronautics, then Dharma Shastra, it's a genre of theological text, Kama Shastra, which is about Kama Shastra, the name itself mentions it, and the Yoga Vasishta, and Mokshobhaya, which is a Mahayana Uttarayana Shastra, Then Artha Shastra, which is about the financial affairs. Natya Shastra, about performing arts. Surya Siddhanta, about the astronomy. Mahayana Buddhist Shastras, and Samudrika Shastra and Shilpa Shastra, etc. This topic itself need one more day to explain in detail. So we are not having sufficient time. So hereby I am skipping this particular area and moving on to our perspective or our point of view, that is about the Artha Shastra or town planning, which is based on the civil engineering aspects. So about Artha Shastra, Indian text attributed to Kaudalya or great Chanakya. It provides insights into various aspects of governance and administration, including town planning. So, about Arthashastra, it is primarily focusing on the statecraft and politics. It does not contain any perspectives on urban planning and management. About the historical reference, it is about understanding how ancient Indian societies approached the organization and about the development of urban centers. Some of the key perspectives on town planning as outlined in the Artha Shastra, which include the layout and organization of cities, defensive structures, about the water management, marketplaces and trade, sanitation and public health, city administration, land use planning, the public amenities, urban expansion, and taxation and revenue collection. So going deeply into our area or the most uh, attractive portion, hopefully our participants will be very more attracted or very much eager to know more on this particular topic, which is about the Vastu Shastra, referred the science of architecture or the science of construction. Now, the ancient Indian system of architectural design and planning, it has ancient roots like principles found in ancient Indian texts such as Veda, Purana, and Manasara. It is developed as the essential part of Hindu architecture and temple construction. 5 elements about the fundamental principles of Vastu Shastra. There are 5 elements. Is based on the concept of balancing the 5 elements like earth, water, fire, air, and space, also known as Panchapodas. Directional influence. It emphasizes the significance of cardinal directions. That is basically our north, south, east, west, and their impact on building design. And it is all based on the Vastu Purusha Mandala, which is a mythical being basically, and it is believed to reside in the plot of a land. The design of building should respect the Vastu Purusha Mandala grid. That is how it is designed. So the important directions. Each cardinal direction is associated with the specific qualities and elements. East and south. East is the rising sun and knowledge. South about fire and energy. The Vastu principles recommend aligning rooms and functions with the auspicious directions based on their intended use. Definitely, wherever there is a positive side, there might be a negative. Wherever there is a north, there is a south. Likewise, the Vastu have its own benefits when obeying it, and also there is a negative side like Vastu doshas, which is the architectural flaws or imbalance that can bring a negative energy and disruptions. So the common doshas include the placement of toilets or kitchens in unfavorable directions, or like irregularly shaped plots, or the improper alignment, etc., etc., etc. So how to know this? For that, basically, you must aware about the 8 limbs of Vastu. The fundamental aspects of Vastu Shastra is the Vastu Purusha Mandala, which is already mentioned and associated with the 8 limbs of Vastu. So, what are all the 8 limbs represent? That is the basic principles that govern the design and layout of a building. The 8 limbs include Rajapada, which is known as the king's seat, Vayupada, which is known as the air seat, then Agnipada, which is the fire seat, Jalapada, which is the water seat, Ishanapada, otherwise known as goat seat, Nirudipada, that is a sleeping seat, Nairudipada. What happened, madam? Yes, thank you. That is the Daman seat, which is Nairudipada. And then finally, Vayupada, that is a storage seat. You can note this particular 8 limbs if you are interested, because on these aspects we will be explaining further, or also wherever you are going through any articles regarding this particular topics, you will be hearing these particular words. These are the key points or key words which can be included on this particular topic. Okay. So in detail, what is Rajapada or a king's seat? The central area of building is considered, that is a king's seat, or the most important space. It should be kept open and free from obstructions. And this area often serves as the courtyard or central gathering space in traditional Indian homes. So that is what I was about to talk about. That is, while explaining these particular 8 limbs and this particular areas included, and we will be also discussing about the directions and which are all the particular rooms to be given in each direction. About this Vastu Shastra, we will be explaining different areas, no? But the better way of understanding, and also if you would like to have some takeaway from this session, you can just do one thing. Rather than simply hearing or listening to these topics, or even you just like what to say, taking notes or something, you can just imagine a traditional Indian house that definitely works, because I am talking from my experience only. If you can imagine a particular ancient Indian house or a Nalugata model house in South Indian cinemas, we will be seeing courtyard, big buildings, that is like a grandparents house. People will be visiting, not just South India, even in North India, some sort of difference might be there in construction. Still, the common areas or the common things, whenever a hero or heroine visiting their grandparents, there will be there you can see a big house with many peculiarities, which is not actually seen in the congested flats nowadays. And that kind of a building, or if you are blessed with a house of your own, you can even imagine itself, that need not to be very big house, but still an ancient kind of construction, which includes some kind of courtyard, puja room, kitchen, puja room that can be for any religious. There is a room for worship, something like that. That is what I actually mean. And then some kind of tulasitara and some free space, staircase areas, anything like a old building, if you can imagine and then listen to this particular topic, definitely you won't actually forget these words also. Rather than taking notes, that is a better way of understanding. That is what I actually mean. Okay, now what we have mentioned is about the central gathering space, that is known as a king's seat, otherwise a Rajapada. Now what is a Agnipada or fire seat? Yes, somebody has commented east facing. We will be coming into that. Regarding the direction, we will be definitely explaining, madam. Now, Agnipada, the southeast corner of building, is associated with the fire element, and it is considered as the auspicious location for the kitchen. Now, the kitchen should be located here to harness of energy of fire for cooking. Next one is Ishanapada, which is a goat's seat. The northeast corner of a building is known as goat's seat or the sacred space. It is considered the most favorable direction for placing a place of worship or a meditation room or altar, something like that. This area should be kept clean and peaceful. That is the importance of Ishanapada. Then Nairudipada, which is a diamond seat. The southwest corner of building is called a diamond seat. It is generally considered inauspicious for important rooms or activities. And this area is often used for the storage of less frequently used spaces. The name itself have been mentioning this. And the next one is air seat, otherwise known as Vayupada. That is the northwest corner of building and it is associated with the air element. Now, it is considered suitable for placing bedrooms or guest rooms, and proper ventilation is important in this area to facilitate the flow of fresh air. And the Jalabada, otherwise water seat, the southeast corner of building is associated with the water element, and it is considered a good location for bathrooms and water related facilities. The proper drainage and plumbing are essential in this area. Yes, this is about the Nirudipada or sleeping seat. As the name itself says, it is a place associated with rest and sleep. And usually it is our most apt, best location is the southwest corner. And it is considered suitable for bedrooms to ensure a peaceful and restful sleep. This area should be kept clutter-free and conducive to relaxation. And the one is storage seat, otherwise known as Vayupada, and the best place for storage and preserving resources, and that can be most accurately placed in the northwest corner of a building we're planning. And it is considered appropriate for storage rooms, pantries, or places where grains and supplies are kept. Proper organization and cleanliness are important in this area. Now you can kindly note down this particular consolidated chart of direction and the center or central courtyard, which is open space, which should be containing more light and air, ideal for a tulasi plant if you have a belief in that. And that is not basically just for in belief as per the Hindu methodology, but still tulasi plant is having many more medicinal effects. And in spite of the religion, many people are nowadays keeping this tulasi plant in their home, and that definitely spreads a positive energy as well as can be used as a medicine in need. Now, in the north direction, the treasury, more open space or living room, bathroom, entrance, etc. can be given. But avoid bedrooms in particular or typical north direction. That is better. Now, in the northeast direction, where we can provide the entrance or a room as mentioned, the temple for meditation or a temple room or porch, balcony, veranda, anything can be given. Underground water tank is is more accurate to place in this particular location, but it is better to avoid toilet or kitchen or septic tank in this direction. Yes, ma'am, definitely. Shamshad Begum, you have been telling it very correctly, the scientific explanation about Tulasi plant. Now, northwest direction, granary and cowshed or washing place, it can be used. It can be also chosen as a location for septic tank, otherwise a guest bedroom, toilet, otherwise as a dining and study room also it can be used. Otherwise, for a elder child, room for elder child, you can suggest this particular location on the parking space. Otherwise, it can be given for a parking space. Simply, you can note down this as a summary of all these directions, and it is better to choose these locations for these purposes as mentioned. This is just a kind suggestion only. You don't need to stick on this 100%, and there might be some limitations to use or suggest these locations in many places due to the space insufficiency, etc. Otherwise, if the space or availability of the space is the matter, you can suggest these are the things, and also you can just check in your own space of residence or all these directions correctly followed. If any changes, you can just try. You can just give a try. No, this bedroom can be shifted to another room, or the child study area can be just relocated for a time, and you just observe. If you see anything positive changes are happening, you can just follow. Otherwise, you just ignore. That's it. These are all kind suggestions only. I'm not insisting it about. Still, in consultancy works, when we are attending, we'll be giving such suggestions. Later, people will be given feedback calls, right? It have given a very positive change in their lives, which gives us much more happiness on hearing. That is why I'm just sharing the knowledge with you people also. So about I think have you all taken a note about it? Yes, I'll just read it out more about the directions. In particular east direction, it is better to give more open space there, and give guest room, bathroom, or living room. Even the study room can be suggested there. About the typical west direction, a dining room or overhead water tank can be given. Children's bedroom, study room, toilet, or septic tank can be given. Avoid any cellar area in this particular direction. That is better because of less airflow. West direction is not chosen for a cellar portion also. And the southwest is best for the master bedroom. That is what I have mentioned already. If your master bedroom is not in this particular direction, you can give a try. You can just see if there is any change in your resting time, whether if it can spread some kind of positive energy in your lives. You have to wait a while, see for a month or 2 3 months. You just wait and see if there is any response, positive or negative. And south direction. Okay, if it is not mandatory to describe it all, you can skip, I think. Otherwise, you just please note it, because this is the most welcomed area in my presentation usually, because participants are very eager to know about this direction. That is why I am keep explaining it. That is it. So the southeast direction, the kitchen is face east and cook. That is the better logo basically. So the electric meter or storage room for oil, ghee, etc. can be given. Tulasi plant can be given. And here also it is better to avoid a cellar or well. And typical south is better for sleep, head towards south, staircase block or provision room. Otherwise, a store room can be provided. As already mentioned, in this location also, it is better to avoid cellar or well. Okay. Yes, now we are going into the town planning. Before, for many years, which the towns now we are residing, that have been decided for many years ago, when there were no typical access to technologies like social medias or any kind of browsing or googling. On those days itself, they have been thinking very futuristic, and how the people are going to live in a future of like 100 years after. It will be the kind, and our ancestors have beautifully designed. How brilliant the designs are about. That is what we are going to discuss now. So the town planning, it is also known as the urban planning. It is the process of designing and organizing the physical, social, and economical aspects of cities and also the urban areas. It actually involves creating a framework for the sustainable and functional urban development. Now, the cities are efficient. It is to ensure that the cities are efficient, aesthetically pleasing, and provide a high quality of life for their residents. What are all the basic aspects and principles of town planning? So it include the first thing, land use planning. Town planning, which begins with the allocation and zoning of land for various purposes, which include residential, commercial, industrial, recreational, and green spaces, which aims to create a well balanced and mixed use, that is, urban environments that reduce commuting times and enhance accessibility. Actually, what is urbanization? Uh, Dear participants, any one of you, have you ever moved on to a urban area from rural area for your kind of work or children's education? May I know if any of you have done a shifting only for your job or your children's education or something like that? Any of the participants? Okay, I think no such shiftings have been happened ever. Anyway, nowadays many people are locating or relocating. Yes, nowadays urbanization is creating so much problems, but still that kind of shifting is what is known as urbanization. That was what I would like to explain. That is it. So, for any kind of convenience, maybe education, maybe work purpose, or maybe convenience, or as mentioned, the to reduce the commuting times, we are actually choosing the location of residence in urban area. Okay, Sujata madam have been mentioning they have been yes, sewage problems also there, and they are living in a semi-urban area. She have mentioned. So why this urbanization is happening? For our convenience, right? So, land use planning, and then comes the infrastructural development and provision of essential infrastructure such as road, public transportation, utilities, water, sewage, and communication networks is a crucial part of town planning. The well planned infrastructure ensures efficient movement of people and goods as well as access basic services. Yes, the more industries are having or making severe issues, I do agree. Still, we can understand what are all the principles of town planning here. So, what is transportation planning? Efficient transport systems are essential for urban areas. Town planners basically consider the design and layout of roads, highways, public transit, and the pedestrian and cycling infrastructure. Now, reducing traffic congestion and improving connectivity are the common goals while planning transportation for urbanization or in an urban area. Next comes the housing and residential planning. Providing adequate, affordable, and safe housing is a priority in town planning. Planners focus on creating diverse housing options, which include affordable housing, high density developments, and mixed income neighborhoods. Yes. Now, a very important area which should not be missed while the urbanization or designing a town planning is public participation. For a successful town planning, often involves engaging with the community and incorporating public input into the decision making process, right? So public participation helps ensure that planning efforts align with the needs and desires of a local population. And this public participation itself is all made for a long term vision. That is, effective town planning looks beyond social term goals and it takes into account long term sustainability and resilience. Cities plans for growth and adapt changing demographic, economic, and environmental conditions. Next is about the legal and regulatory frameworks. So town planning is supported by laws, regulations, and zoning ordinances that guide development. So the planning authorities and government agencies play a crucial role in enforcing and updating these regulations. And after all, even after all such plannings and everything, we should regularly check the monitoring or the continuous evaluation is what that matters. So town planning is an ongoing process that requires monitoring and evaluation of implemented plans. It is about the adjustments and revisions that are made in time according to the needed or address emerging challenges and opportunity. Exactly about the maintenance and the regular evaluation. Actually, many participants are posting in the comment box. I'm not reading it all now presently, and we can discuss everything in later after the or during. Sorry, not after, during the question and answer session, because we are running out of time. So, firstly, we need to complete the topics and then we can discuss it definitely. Okay, temples in India. Now, the marvelous stone architecture for eternity, temples built in India, that is mostly stone structures and proposed many unique features that requires spanning mathematics, astronomy, building science, supply chain management, rock cutting technology, optics, and sound engineering. We will be discussing here some or a very few examples like Brihadishwara temple in Tanjavur, Sun temple in Konark, and Kailasa temple in Ellora. Brihadishwara temple. Actually, I am not blessed enough. Any of the somebody is raising hands. Any participants would like to tell anything? Okay. Any of our participants ever got or blessed enough visit these temples, Brihadishwara temple or Sun Konark or anything? You can definitely share your experience here. That might be a very beautiful experience for the co-participants also, and even myself. If interested, you can definitely share your experience here.
Ma'am, you want the participants to be unmuted?
If any of them are interested, they can be definitely unmuted, or otherwise, let me complete the session and finally they can talk. Anyhow, I am okay with anything. As per your roles, madam.
I'll give the unmute option, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, in the end, I will share Sujata madam have been mentioned like that. Okay, so let us continue with this presentation. Okay, so I am continuing here. Brihadishwara temple is a temple built thousands of years back with granite or completely using granite. There is a Vimana or a tower which is a 99 feet structure above the sanctum, is one of the tallest in South India. A plan is 16 by 16 squares, a design known as Padmagarbha Mandala in the Dravida architecture of southern India. Shikhara, a dome weighing 80 tons atop the corner, and the musical pillars in Mandapa requires carving the stone so that the sound is frequently improperly established. We can see a picture of Brihadishwara temple here, which is located in Tanjavur. While visiting, you can definitely keep in mind the words which will be mentioning here. I can give a short knowledge which I have actually, basically what I have, I will be sharing with you participants. Okay, next one is Sun temple in Konark. Firstly, we can see the picture. Yes, this is a sun temple. Here you can see like a chakra-like structure and a huge, massive graha like model in the back. And yes, to the explanation, please. Which is a temple built 1250 CE using stone in the form of a gigantic chariot. So 24 elaborately carved stone wheels that is symbolizing 24 pakshas in a year, each of about 12 feet diameter. Can you imagine that too in that era of what to say, there were no cranes, there were no weightlifting machines or anything like that, no such modern equipments, still they have managed to do this all. What a brilliant construction, right? So the 7 horses are in the front, symbolically pulling the chariot. The wheels of a temple are sundials used to calculate the time accurately to a minute even. So the placement of main temple and the sun god aligned, that is the first ray of sun from the coast would cross the Nada Mandir, that is dawn dancing hall, and would fall and reflect from the diamond placed at the crown of the sun porch. This is the picture. And now next one is Kailasa temple. Firstly, we can see the image. This is the largest rock cut structure basically. Kailasa temple, Ellora. This is built by Krishna and Rashtrakuta king, and digging out a sloping basalt hill with the 2 massive trenches, each of 90-meter long and joined with a connecting trench of 53-meter in length. So the vertical excavation, that is cover, started at the top of original rock and excavated downwards. 3-story Vimana tower with an octagonal dome and a huge free-standing columns, that is also known as Dvajastambhas, flanking at the Mandapa entrance hall, which has 16 columns set in the group of 4. Exactly, madam. These are all not at all constructed by civil engineers or any kind of architects, but those people or those brilliant minds are what we are actually studying or we are learning from that. And then we are actually we are calling them as civil engineers, or otherwise that ideas that we are taking the reference to make a civil engineering or produce a new civil engineer, their ideas or that kind of mindsets have never been repeated or seen nowadays, or you cannot see that in a modern era. That is my personal opinion, and I think many people may be like objecting me. Still, that kind of mindset can never be seen nowadays, because nowadays what we are actually doing is like we are having so many references and we are just repolishing. We are not actually we don't need to make anything as a new, or we don't need to invent something. Basically we are having the thing, we need to polish it only. That is my personal opinion only. Okay, so this is the Kailasa temple in Ellora. And the temple architecture in India. Now you can note these particular terms. That is what I have mentioned. And next time when you are visiting a temple, you can just like and even you can Google out these particular terms or these particular keywords to see the images, more particular typical images. Here I have given a particular image of explaining at least some 5-6 components. And the basic components of a temple include Garbhagraha, Mandapa, Prakara, Adhisthana or Adhisthana, then Stamba, Prastara, Shikhara, and Stubi. And the Garbhagraha, which is marked as a blue shade, which is the most inside or most core or most sanctioned portion of a temple. And to reach the Garbhagraha, you may need to go through 3 different kind of entrance, which is Artha Mandapa, then Mandapa, and then Pragara. And this Garbhagraha will be on top with a beautiful Kalasha, which is decoratively Amalaga and Shikara, there will be many more components to flourish the contents. And there also Shikara and Stubi will be placed inside. Next one. So the womb or epicenter of a temple is Garbhagriha, where the presiding deity is to be placed. The positioning is explained with the Vastu Purusha Mandala. And Mandapa, pavilion structure in front of Garbhagriha, Mukha Mandapa, Artha Mandapa, and Maha Mandapa, the three different sections of Mandapa, pillared structures of varying numbers and sizes, Prakara, which is open space of circumambulation, Pradakshina around the Garbhagriha, one or more such structures designed depending on the overall size and span of the temple superstructure. Adhisthana, which is the base platform, entirely superstructure rest. It have a raised platform, rest of the structure is established. Then Stamba, that is a set of pillars that support various structures, provide the basis of developing elevation of the temple. Prastara, it is the enablature in the temple structure. Shikhara, that is a tower-like infrastructure built above the Garbhagriha. This forms the main elevation of the temple. Stubi is the final to the structure. One picture with all these connections or what all these terms. So here you can see the whole structure is facing east direction, and there is a Artha Mandapa, then that is the entrance porch, then a Mandapa, that is hall, and a Maha Mandapa, which is a great hall, and the Attala, that is vestibule, and the Urushikha, that is subsidiary Shikhara, and Amalaga Shikhara, and on top a Kalasha, and under that there will be the Pradakshina circumambulation marked with a green arrow mark, and the Jagadi platform and Adhisthana on inside the Garbhagriha is placed basically. Khajuraho temple architecture is what actually given as an example here. Hope you just got a mild idea at least. Yes. This is the top view from the Gobara or entrance, smaller shrine. This is the temple at Tiruvallur, that is essay on architecture of Hindus. Yes, exactly, Mr. Arpit. Today's generation is more eager to create the moments or capturing the moments. They are not actually living in the moments. They just need to capture the moments and reproduce it at reels to share in the social medias. They are not even observing what is happening around them. Still, they want to capture the moments. They just want to post, repost it to collect the likes and to create the reach. They are doing everything. Very unfortunate, actually. Yes. Now the Indian Parliament building inspiration. The design of Indian Parliament was inspired by the Chausat Yogini temple in Michaoli, that is Madhya Pradesh. The Chausat Yogini temple is a rare Hindu temple with a circular plan. It is the it is dedicated to the Tantric sect of Chausat Yogini. The temple has 64 subsidiary shrines of Shiva around the central shrine of the Yogini. The temple is hypothetical, meaning it has no roof basically. So the temple has a parliament like pillars on the inside also. Old parliament building was designed by British architect Sir Edwin and Sir Hedbert. If you have any doubt, I can show you in a picture also. That is how I am going to prove this. Just joking. So the old parliament picture and the Chausat Yogini temple, both images are included here. You can simply Google it if you are hearing for this first time. You will be given more additional data on this, which is a very brilliant construction. And even sometimes actually first time when I'm learning about this, I was literally shocked to know this whether how this happened, but brilliant construction and its details are beautifully explained in our Google platforms. Iconography, the final topic in our presentation. Iconography is the study and interpretation of visual symbols and icons, often with the context of art and architecture. It is the analyzing and understanding of significant images, basically symbols and representations, especially with the religious, cultural, or historical contents. Iconography can encompass various forms of visual communication, which includes painting, sculpture, architecture, and even modern media like advertisements and logos. The art of idol making requires good understanding of relative proportions of different parts of the image. Vastu text provide intricate details of these proportions for both female and male image. A few examples are given here. This is about worship and the network performance, cafe, Muskan Center, coaxial, steel. If you ever see any kind of iconography or symbols in somewhere, you can just mention. This is just a few examples. More iconographic images can be seen in books if you are referring more about it. Only a very few is included, as this is not our this is not we are not having enough time to go deeply into this particular areas. That is why. So some of the key aspects of iconography is about religious iconography, cultural, mythological, political, and social, and then evolving iconography. So summary is about today we have been discussing about the town planning, which is the collective set of process ideas and methods used in science and technology, which develop available land for human habitation and others uses in most effective way. Then architecture address the process of planning, designing, and constructing buildings. Then Vastu Shastra, which is about the alignment of structure to the Panchabhutas and rotational influence of Sun, Moon, and other planets. The planning and architectural aspects detailed in Vastu can be viewed using a 8 part of classification. This could be referred as the limbs of Vastu. And Vastu Shastra discuss finer aspects of variety in individual. That is about the three categories: residential, temple, and other public infrastructure we have discussed. And finally, we have discussed about the temple structures, which is considered by the kings and wealthy individuals. The square and grid forms and the rich and elaborate sculptures, they're decorating the walls and towers. The Vastu text, basically the iconography, its components, type of temple designs, various structural elements out of the temple complex using Vastu Purusha Mandala, etc., have been discussed in today's session. I hope I could give at least some 1% of idea, new kind of idea or takeaway from this session. Now it is open for question and answer session, right, ma'am? Yes, participants, let's talk. Thank you for